Yes, guys.
Yes,
Welcome
guys.
back to the Once You're In podcast. This is episode 68. Reece is wearing pink, which is a bold choice, mate. Is pink in at the minute?
I don't know. It's 2022, so we can't specify against colours. What's your agenda against pink, mate?
Nothing, mate. I wasn't speaking about colours in that sense at all. I just thought pink is quite bold. I don't see you in pink that often.
I'm taking offence that you even would question why I'm wearing pink.
Oh, really? Well, I think that's you overthinking it, because I wasn't thinking anything like that.
Yeah, but I'm offended now, so we've got an issue.
Oh, okay.
That's how it works now, isn't it? Even though you didn't mean for it, and I'm the one who's offended, I'm now going to say it's your problem because I've got a problem.
Yeah, okay. It makes sense. It's the world we live in now.
It's what we do. It's what we do.
Hopefully we won't offend anybody in this week's podcast.
No.
We'll make the intro nice and quick because it's a special guest episode again. Every other week we got a guest on at a minute. So obviously you'll already see from the title who it is. It's Mr. Josh Bogdani, the teen champ, but we'll bring him in a minute. He's just in the waiting room. Have you got anything to update us on, mate, quickly before we bring him in? Anything you need to discuss from this week?
Well, I think most people liked me telling everybody like I shat myself. So
you've done it again just for clout.
Yeah, no, I haven't shat myself this week, which has been good. So bowel movements have been more consistent. They've been actually designed to go where they should, not, let's say, while I'm sleeping. So that was that. That's literally that. Other than that, everything's been pretty sound.
That's all you've got to say this week is you've not shat yourself. That's all you've got to talk about.
I know. I'm going to start doing things for clout and just saying, oh, yeah, I did this. Oh, and then be like, oh, no, even more engagement.
I tore my pec. You got the video.
Yeah, exactly. You remember I tore a pec on that flat incline? She got a flat prime incline.
On the flat incline, yeah. That flat incline. It was that flat. It was an incline that I tore my pec.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but then afterwards, I tore my pec and I still managed to do like the whole shoulder focus part of the session. Fine. Yeah, it was sound.
No swelling.
Yeah, mate. Anything to report? Anything to say on the podcast? I mean, we said, aren't we? We're gonna do the one when it's just me and you, a bit more of an update, and also means that because with the phases we're in right now, it's literally just same old. Like it's probably best to give an update every 2 weeks. But is there anything immediate that you thought, you know what, this just came about? I need to tell people.
No, I think all is good. Don't think there's anything major that's happened. I'm definitely due a deload. I can tell I'm feeling pretty fatigued. This is my 8th week. So obviously I went on holiday and I actually felt really fresh after that holiday. Because usually when you have a deload, you'll align it with like a holiday or like something where you're busy. Like obviously that holiday, it was like, as much as I was busy at the start, I actually had a few days I just chilled out. So I can tell that I'm due a deload again. I've already planned it in for next week, like the back end. I might take it sooner if the next couple of sessions tell me to take it sooner, but I'll be sound for a few more, I reckon. I think part of it is that my hips flared up again, but we don't need to go into that. Should we get the guest in?
Yes, let's sub him in. I say sub him in. We haven't subbed him in. We've kind of just brought him in straight away.
He's come straight on.
Yes. Right, let's see if he enters. Let's see if he actually enters and he can talk instantly, or if there's going to be issues like everyone else.
It should be fine because he's just been on. I've got his Instagram up in it. I'll share his Instagram in a minute. There he is. Everybody can see his little selfie.
Yeah, awful that.
Right,
Josh.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're on. Right. So, Josh, I've already said that you're on the podcast because your name's going to be in the title, so it's not really a surprise. It's not like a big reveal. But do you want to give us an intro? Tell us who you are. Tell us what you're about for anybody that doesn't know you, mate.
Well, I am a teenage bodybuilder. I'm currently 18 years of age, so I could go again next year if I wanted to do. I did the UK DFBA Northern Qualifier, the BMBF Northern Qualifier, then went on to win all 3 of the natural British finals. That's pretty much it.
That's it. Just log off.
Yeah.
Cheers.
That's it. Left chat.
Yeah, you just beat everybody, mate. That's what it is.
That's why we've got him on.
I'm pretty sure I won all of the shows by at least, only 1 point. So.
Oh, really? You just scraped it against everybody.
I scraped it against Jack 4 times.
There's techniques and tactics, mate, of standing like half a meter closer.
Yeah, you're a big cheat. You're a big cheat, Natty. They don't come much worse, mate.
Krogan did it and he went pro, so.
To be fair, everybody does it now. Like, one thing that made no sense at the UK DFBA finals, they had the line, didn't they? But then they were telling everybody to be like 2 inches behind it. So like, even if you were
they did the same at the qualifier.
Why did they do that? Did they just put the tape in the wrong place?
Well, it's just they set up the lighting beforehand, don't they? So the tape, the line is already there. That's where the lighting's supposed to be best. That's supposed to be the center of the stage. But when they set up the lighting, they just slightly ajar it every now and again.
They fuck it up basically. Yeah. So yeah,
and you've just got somebody in the crowd screaming, "Josh, closer! Josh, come closer!" And you're just like, "Okay, yeah, I'll take another step closer."
Was it WMBF that we were sat quite close, weren't we? And we were like, "Hey, he's still too far forward.
Get me back!" And I think you looked over at us and started like laughing when you hit like a side tricep.
No, I think I put my middle finger up on stage, but I will not talk about that.
Mark him down. He's showing offensive signs. Mark him down. And I was like screaming to Conran. I was saying, "Conran, come closer. Like, don't just let him."
Conran was like slowly creeping forward. I just took a step. Every time he took a step, I took an extra one.
No, it makes sense, mate. Like, you got to make the most of it. And I feel like what I spoke to you about on one of the shows, you were saying like, "Oh, you got extra glaze. You watched Josh Croggan last year." And I feel like it probably goes to show like you put in probably a little bit of extra work. Like, it wasn't just the case, obviously, the prep. I feel like you kind of went a little bit over, and that's the result why you pretty much won everything, I'm guessing, as well as you looked all right.
Yeah, I looked all right. I think, do you know what? I think the majority of the stuff I won by were like little bits like posing.
Yeah, posing was
personally, I think.
Yeah, it was a massive benefit for you. It was like, you looked like you competed loads. Like, you looked really relaxed. You didn't look... I don't think in any pose I saw you like tensing too hard or shaking or anything like that. Whereas you see that with all teams. So I think that was you just looked like you'd done it loads. So it massively
like that.
It was like first and second time on stage, like for competitive seasons, you see it. You rarely see people with composure, and like I remember I spoke to you after the first show. And I said, like, we bumped into each other and I was like, "Mate, you look fucking sick." Like, it was obviously, I know you finished second in the first show, but me and Finn were sat there.
Yeah,
and
you
we
were like the
both were looking
standout physique of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. We were literally like, "This guy is wicked." Like, obviously, I know you didn't win that.
That was a proud moment of mine. I was going to my mate, like, "Reece Pearson just come up." Like,
ah. You mean ReeceFit?
Apart from that.
ReeceFit. ReeceFit. No one knows who Reece Pearson is. Reece Pearson is that. They're like that ReeceFit. Yeah.
So for anybody that isn't already following Josh, this is his Instagram, Josh Bogdani. He even spells it out for you like that. Look, so you know how to say it.
Josh, where does your name originate from? Because I've never heard that, like Bogdani.
So I'm half Albanian, quarter Bayesian, which is Barbados, and quarter Portuguese. So I've got a...
Mate, how the hell are you getting all these British titles?
Yeah, I'm going to say, you're not a British champ then.
I'm not a British champ.
Conran's the best team in Britain. I knew it. I know I've got a British champion.
So these were the top two, well, the top three, obviously, that in like most of the shows, weren't they?
Yeah.
So this is for people who are watching on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, then get over on YouTube. This is Conran's. This is Reece's client. This guy's called Jack, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think Jack's very good.
Jack is wide as a house, mate.
He is very good.
When we were backstage, like, he's just one of those people that looks absolutely fucking phenomenal in any light.
Yeah. I saw some photos of him like in his off season, and like when we watched you two in the first show, we got up your Instagram and I looked at that Jack and I was like, there's photos of him in an off season and he's like doing like a most muscular in the gym mirror or something.
Yeah.
He stood there to the camera and I'm like, he's ridiculously round and bubbly for a team which is so rare, like really, really rare. So yeah, I was saying to Conran, like, you three personally, like, to be fair, I looked at the teams and like how the team standard, but you three are probably the best teams that I've seen in recent memory. I'd definitely say it's just a bit of a shame that you all competed kind of against each other.
Yeah.
Great for obviously experience, but like I feel like Jack, for example, if he was to compete as a team most years, he probably would win the vast majority. Likewise, Conran would be the same. Yeah,
in my opinion, the thing about teams normally is there's only one or two good people who compete. This year there's been a fair few. Conran,
there is usually just one. If there's another one, it's rare. It's usually like, oh, that guy's good, and everyone else is like, meh. But yeah, this year there was at least you three. I didn't really see anyone else that I thought was like at that level. There was a lot of good people.
Finn, the dude that didn't do a prep that when he turned around and hit a lat spread, all the people in the crowd went boom.
What was his name again?
Ruben.
Yeah, sorry, Ruben, if you're listening, mate. I forgot about you. But yeah, in terms of like you three were better, in my opinion, than Ruben.
Yeah.
But Jack didn't do the WMBF, did he?
No, he didn't. Yeah. So I don't think he was. I think he was planning on just putting all of his focus into the UK DFBA purely because he'd won the qualifier. So why would you not?
Yeah.
And then you fucked him up.
And he came last in the final. Bless him.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry.
The thing is, though, he still looked good, but I feel like he didn't get much better through the prep. I feel like I don't think he got worse, but I don't think he really got any better. Whereas I feel like you got better as you went on, probably just with like confidence and stage presence. Like, and again, you just didn't look. You almost look like you just don't give a shit, which is quite good. Like, you don't look like not as in like you can't be arsed, because some people look like they can't be arsed, and it's like what are they even doing? But you just look so composed that you just look like you're chilling.
Well, it's just sort of like I don't know how to describe it. Like before you go on, it's like my mind goes blank. I just don't think about anything. And like I got asked on the question box, like it was Josh Campbell actually who asked me. He asked about like, do you get nervous before going on stage? And I was like, not really, no, because everything you've done up to this point you've already done the work for, really. Like the diet, posing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is just like the last bit where you're enjoying spending time on stage with your friends, essentially.
I think people stress out about that way too much. Like, obviously, for like Josh isn't like, I'm not saying that about Josh. Like, loads of people ask that, like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I want to be like in my pants on stage. I'm really nervous. Like, what if on the day I can't do it and I can't go out on stage? It's like you've already got that in your head that that's what you're doing. You know what you're putting yourself in for. Like, you're going to be prepping for that long. You're going to be practicing posing that often in your trunks as well. So it's not like it's the first time you're ever in trunks and all of a sudden you're just on stage on your own in front of loads of people. Like, you've got the tan, you've gone and had your bloody cock out in a sock, getting a tan by people you don't know. Like, you're going to be fine going on stage. Like, you're doing it with loads of other lads. Like you say, everyone's having like a good laugh backstage, apart from Joe Gillen, who's fucking making growling noises. Growling at everyone.
He's like a world champ, isn't he? At 21, so I mean, he's better than all of us.
Best in the world, actually.
He's coming for you in men's physique, Reece. That's what's happening.
Yeah, honestly, he's gonna do me. Do me in condition. I think he'd do anybody in condition.
I think he would do anyone.
He is phenomenal condition wise. To be fair, I can't knock him on that anyway.
Yeah.
The only thing I can knock him on was I went to go watch the BMBF Southern, and like every time he turned around to the back, he'd pull his I don't even know what to call them. They're not short. They are shorts, but
yeah, they're like little muscle
his ass.
Like, yeah. Like,
he pulled them into his
shorts, aren't they?
Give himself a wedgie. Is that what?
Yeah, he'd give himself a wedgie, and it just looked fucking horrible. But...
Well, me and Finn were going to say the fact he was grunting doing banded rows backstage. That was probably the worst thing we saw.
That's the only thing I'd knock him for. He was like staring everyone out, staring us out. And like,
he must have looked at me without blinking for about 30 seconds. It's like dead on in my eyes, and I was like, "Mate, I'm not even on stage. I'm not even stage conditioned. You're the one competing. Chill out." But
fair play to him. Congrats to him for winning the world with the BMBF. It was classic.
He is actually a really nice guy as well.
Yeah, mate. He looks, like I say, he looks fucking mental. Like, he looks very, very good. Right. Do you want to crack on with some questions? Reece, have you got any questions of your own? We can ask our own questions before we ask questions from the listeners.
Ask a few. So I kind of wanted to know, like, we've already touched upon it, and I want to talk about the prep and then a little bit before. But you said, and we were literally speaking about you getting better. What was your plan? Obviously, your coach is the one who decides everything. It's AMS muscle, is it? Is it? If I'm not.
Andy,
Yeah. So I know you were working with him before, like, what for the prep? Did you work with him before the prep, or was it just the prep?
So I contacted him about 23 weeks out, then recontacted him at 20 weeks out and was like, right, let's get this going. Because
why, were you going to prep on your own, or were you working with a previous coach? Or
no, so for off season, I just kind of took the approach of eat as much as possible, get as big as possible, pump as much volume through every muscle part as possible. that I can recover from anywhere. And then yeah, I was just absolutely hammering my body. I'd go for as long as I can before deloading, and then I took a deload period, and I was like, right, well, this is a perfect time to sort of get a coach, and it was subsequently at 20 weeks out. Andy was probably one of the first people I looked at, just because I knew he'd worked with a lot of first-time competitors. Yeah, and he was phenomenal from the start, really. So like, I can't knock it one bit.
No, fair enough. So you were 20 weeks out from when you started, I'm guessing. So you started with him, was it like day one, right, this is your prep? Or did he run any data, let's say assessment? Was it literally, how was it?
So essentially, well, we'll call it like the first phase was sort of a reverse diet. He literally put me on a diet plan, which was all clean food, like the stuff that you'd be eating in prep: cream of rice, potato, chicken, beef mince.
Yeah.
Then slowly tapered food up because my weight was continuing to drop off, regardless of how much food I was eating. So we worked back up to just over 3,000 calories. And then obviously at that point we were about 12 weeks out. So we then started the decline into prep.
Okay, fair enough. And then I'm guessing, so was there like, so literally pretty plain sailing into the first show, I'm guessing, like relatively to a prep, like there wasn't any, was there any hiccups along the road, anything you had to push harder, or was it literally, because you weren't, mate, I saw a photo that you put up and you were like 16 or so weeks out, and I mean, you weren't shredded, but you weren't fat at all, like you were in good nick.
Yeah, I think that sort of phase at the start took a large amount of body fat off me, just purely because I was going from eating a really poor diet with a lot of calories to eating a substantial amount of food, a lot of calories, but at the same time it was cleaner food.
When you say cleaner, do you mean like, was your diet before prep, was it like 150 grams of fat per day and your carbs were lower, and therefore switching literally for carbs, you're like, wow, I feel better.
I don't think I've not seen a photo of you looking like really soft.
Yeah.
It depends what you classify as soft, though, because for me, when I look at myself back in April, what was it? I think I look horrible. But then,
but that's because you're comparing
prep,
to stage condition. Like, I think for me, like if I see someone who I'm like, fucking hell, they got soft, it's like you've got fat hanging over like your boxers. It's like you've gone way too far. Like I've not seen loads of photos of you, but I don't as much. You're going like, oh mate, I was eating so bad, I was so fat. Like some people's perception, that'll be like, fucking hell, how did he get in that shape in that amount of time? Then, like, if he only signed up with his coach at 20 weeks out and he's really fat, like you were never like really, really out of shape at that point, were you? Like you were obviously soft in an off season, but you weren't like.
What was the difference, Josh, between weights? Like, what was your heaviest weight before prep, and then likewise, what were you on stage? Like, what was the difference there?
I think I was 86.2 was the start of my prep, and then my last show I weighed 72.7.
Okay, so that's not that much.
Yeah, I wasn't.
But that's not like, if you were like, oh yeah, I lost 25 kilos, I'd be like, okay, fair enough. You're probably
like 14 kilos in like 20 weeks. It's still a decent rate of gain though. It's still quite an aggressive rate of gain.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was completely like over the top spilt over, but I think I was in the worst spot I've been in, which is probably why I say I look soft.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then oh, sorry, Finn. Do you want to go? You go right ahead, mate.
I was just going to say, when you actually like started prep and when you contacted Andy, like what were your expectations? Did you think, right, I want to go and I want to win every show, or was it just I want to see what it's like, see how I get on?
To be honest, mate, I didn't even think about winning a show. Like I don't think it's something that goes through your mind. Well, that early in prep anyway. For me, I just I loved bodybuilding, and it's what I sort of did every day. Like the main part of my gym, I mean, my day was going to the gym. Like I'd eat like a bodybuilder, apart from the McDonald's and KFC.
That just shows though. I think you can see that in how you carry yourself and how you are on stage. Like there was no pressure from yourself that you have to do this well, or you have to place, or you have to win. You just looked like you were having fun. You enjoyed posing well. And like I say, you just looked chilled. And I think a lot of people think, if I'm going to compete, I have to win. I have to do this well. And it's like, as much as obviously nobody's competing to come dead last, but also if you're putting that much pressure on yourself, like that's probably when those nerves do kick in, and when you are,
should just enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's just a massive stressor throughout a prep. If you're thinking, I have to win, I have to win, I have to win. Like, I bet you weren't even thinking that for the finals. Like, I bet you were thinking like, right, hopefully I win, but I know I've done everything that I can, so we'll wait and see.
Yeah. So like for the first show, I think I just went into sort of like I had a clean slate. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'd had a look at a few people. I knew I'd seen Jack, and I was like, well, Jack looked absolutely humongous on Instagram. I'd seen Conran. I knew that he was quite a bit heavier than me. Frank as well, Frank Hill. He was another one that he'd messaged me before. But yeah, there were just a few lads that I knew they had a bit of weight on me. So I was like, all right, well, they're going to have more muscle. Like I sort of went into that show and I was like, no expectations, got on stage, and then when they did the call outs, they did the first call outs, I was like, oh, I can be in for winning this. Because it was me and Jack as the top two. And then they called us back off, and obviously did the results, Jack won. And I was like, that sort of from that point forward, I was like, oh, well, I've actually got a chance of winning going forward. So it didn't sort of like, I wouldn't say it slipped my mind that like I knew I had the potential to win, but like it wasn't at the forefront of my mind at the time, like the whole time. Like I was just trying to be, you just try and be the best as possible.
Do you think it benefited you losing that first show, like in terms of your mindset? Or do you think if you'd have won that, you'd have been like, oh, that was fucking easy? Like, or do you think you'd have been like, oh my God, I've won, I can be amazing? Because like, a lot of people will benefit more from not winning because they'll realize either I'm close or I'm not good enough. I need to be better.
I get what you're trying to say by the fact that like if you come second, you've got that sort of mentality to push forward and go again. But for me, like the people that I was speaking to throughout my prep, after I won the BMBF, they were all like, well, you can't let up now. So it's sort of like I think I had the mentality more so after I won the BMBF Northern, that you just have to keep pushing forward rather than after the UKDFBA I was a bit down, but you just carry on anyway.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. I think a lot of people would end up being like, if they win, they almost think they're the dog's bollocks, and they're like, oh, well, I'm the number one guy now. I don't need to keep doing what I was doing or take the foot off the gas a little bit. So it might, even subconsciously, it might have benefited you by coming second in that first show. Because like you say, you realize, oh, I'm actually close. Like if you'd have come dead last, you probably wouldn't have carried on your prep. You might have thought, I'm not.
Yeah, see,
not going to
from
try
that point of view, I agree. I agree with you that it's sort of like it sparked a little bit that I was like, I realized I could actually be winning shows here.
Realize your potential, and you were like, oh God, I just need to hit this potential.
Yeah.
Realize you were actually such a BB. You were like, oh shit, me posing and doing my cardio and eating, I'm actually not too bad at this.
I bet you saw some photos from that first show though, and you were like, fucking hell, like, I actually look decent up there. Because like I say, when we watched that show, like you stood out because just in terms of like your shape and how you were posing, it was like, fucking hell, like that guy looks good. Obviously, you're not the biggest person there was on the day. It's not like, oh, he's got so much muscle, but it's just how you presented your physique. Like I bet you got some shots and you're like, oh shit, like, that looks really good.
I think we both, didn't we, Finn? We both said like we were like before the results were given, we were like, he should win based off his shape, but we don't think
we knew you wouldn't based on the fact that,
and we were both like, he should win. They should give it to him. I think Finn said like he should win.
It was this show.
Yeah.
I don't think I put any stage shots on. I didn't really like any of them, to be honest.
It's probably because of the lighting, to be fair. The lighting wasn't the best. I was the
darkest on stage. Big up Noah.
Big up Noah. Noah looked
the guy on the right, his posing was elite. Finn, you remember him?
Ben Barlow.
Ben Barlow. Ben Barlow. Ben the Butcher Barlow.
Ben the Butcher Barlow. That's what they announced him as. They didn't. Me and Finn called him that when he came out and hit like I can't remember his routine, but came out. He like
his posing was good.
did all
Posing
this.
was
It's
good.
like he almost got like a 90th minute winner. Celebrated. What a guy.
To be fair, his posing was class. Like
His
it was
posing was
absolutely
good. He was
phenomenal.
just soft.
Yeah.
He had a lot of body fat to pull off.
Yeah.
Have you got any photos on here of when you were a fat mess?
Then what?
When you were a fat mess.
When you were a fat mess?
Probably not. If you scroll down, there might be a slightly fatter mess.
Josh, all I'm seeing, bro, is like photos of you when you're in good nick, mate. Like this is poor. I can tell you're a teen and you just care about how you look. Like, where are the photos of you
Peak off season.
off season?
Yeah, wait. Actually, to be fair, I don't think you'll see me peak off season. That's probably as peak off season as it gets.
Fucking hell.
Well, these ones aren't even loading.
Fair enough. Josh, you're gonna have to explain to me all the you hit a few men's physique posing. What's the crack with that? You just think it looks like
Do you know how you
but
look good in some shots? Everyone looks good in sort of like specific shots. I think in the men's physique, front relaxed and that sort of hand on hip bicep shot, I think I look half decent.
Hot.
Yeah, this was 11 weeks into prep. Might need a smaller size of trunk.
Let's have a look. I can't wait for this.
That's a very good shot.
That's a good photo. Yeah,
Legs
mate, what the
look mint
fuck
on
happened?
that.
You got worse, Josh.
Yeah, mate. You should have stepped on stage on that day.
Yeah.
9 weeks out, you were on it.
20 weeks ago.
Oh, 9 weeks.
At this point,
Mate, 20 weeks.
I was only 3 weeks into actually dieting at this point, really. Then.
Yeah, so you must have been
enough,
so
mate.
soft.
I was gonna
Mate.
say
You must have been so soft in that off season.
It's funny perception.
Mate,
like,
honestly,
Josh,
this is one of your best looks.
Yeah, this is a good look.
Yeah, I was full as a house there.
Yeah.
I think that was my first off-plan meal. The day after.
That's a very good look. What was your body weight there? Do you remember?
It will have been about 75, 76.
Oh, so you were quite close. You were only a few kilos off.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Very, very good look. Right, should we do some questions in the second part?
Yeah, cool. Right, we'll end this and then we'll get into the second part. Part two. Right.
So we're going to
get into a few questions.
We're going to get into a few questions. I do the intros and the parts, mate, not you. You do the outro.
I don't know about that, mate. I don't know about that. Come on. We're not going to be arguing about.
You know who do the intro.
I don't know. Who quantifies and who says, I do this part?
My podcast.
Finn, I'm way more.
We can't argue. We've got to guess.
No, we say this all the time.
I'll do the intro.
Fair enough. Anyway, right.
So Josh,
we've gone through questions. We've gone through our questions.
Josh, do the intro, man. You can't just and then jump.
There isn't an intro. We've gone through our questions.
This guy.
Now we're going to go through your guys' questions. We're going to go through your guys' questions. Okay. Listener questions. Listener and viewer questions.
Yes.
Okay, right. This is from Alfie Divine. He said, "Is that your client, Reece?"
No, I don't know who he's coached by. And
he's just followed me on Instagram like 14 minutes ago.
It might be. I'm sure he's part of the FPL team league.
Yeah, I think he might be coached by Lewis. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Anyway, thank you for the question, Alfie. So he's asked, when did you start training? So this is, I'm guessing, just for Josh. We won't answer these.
We all answer? I feel like we should all.
No, I think you should both answer.
Okay, Finn, when did you start training?
When I was 19.
But properly, everyone's got a properly. Like, when did you first step foot in the gym?
First stepped in the gym when I was 14 for a few months.
Been training for 11 years. Fuck me, bro.
A few months, and I looked fantastic. I looked fantastic in the first few months, right? And then I couldn't keep it going because I couldn't afford it, and it wasn't fair. Wasn't fair on my mum to keep coming and picking me up after school from the gym. Because it was far. It was not far away. It was a 10-minute drive. So I basically trained for a few months, then stopped, and then started again when I was like late 18, early 19, and now I'm a fucking monster.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Well, I'm wearing a Monster Factory.
Yeah, pink one, yeah.
Pink one, yeah. I started when I was 13. My mum, my granddad bought me.
You on about training or gear?
Oh yeah, fuck. Sorry, I don't know which one actually. Gear actually. I started on gear before I actually stepped foot in the gym. I think that's what most people do. Before you sign up for a gym membership, you buy your test and your Index that you have to take on the days you pin. That's what you have to do now, isn't it? So yeah, no, I started it when I was 13. My granddad bought me the membership or paid for it monthly, and my mum lied to the people on the gym reception to say I was 16 so I could use the free weights. Unfortunately, I was always a bit taller and I did look a little bit older, but like looking at myself, I didn't look 16. So
You didn't sound
yeah,
it either.
when someone, yeah, I had such a squeaky voice when I was a kid. Like, did I ever tell you? I don't know if I should mention this on the podcast. When I was like 10, 11, this is the first time I'm ever telling anybody this, I think I told you, Finn. I remember I moved to Broughton Astley and I had a really squeaky voice. And like people would be, there was two Reeces, there was another Reece and there was me. And they called me Gay Reece because of how my voice sounded. So,
Oh no.
yeah, so literally they were like, I remember being like, they were on the phone once, like, oh, who you with at the park? And they were like, Reece, like, Reece who? And someone went, Gay Reece. It just caught on, and it was literally for like a week. It was my nickname at this park. But I remember thinking to myself, I was like, motherfuckers, I've got nicknames Gay Reece.
Why? Why? It's not
yeah.
an insult. It's not an insult. There's nothing wrong with gays.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with being gay, but I wasn't gay.
Just happy. Just happy.
Yeah, exactly. It means happy. To be fair,
so I just had a.
For anybody who wants to find this voice, if you just go on Reece's YouTube and look at his old videos, you'll find the voice.
I can just imagine Reece tearing up Black Ops 2 lobbies with like a really squeaky voice.
No, Josh, Black Ops 2, you would have been like 7 then. Like, what the fuck? Like, Black Ops 2.
Black Ops 2 was good.
Josh, what was your first COD? I'm actually interested. Like, so this is because there's 5 years difference between us and 7 between Finn.
Well, it depends. It will have been Black Ops 1 or Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2, that came out like 2009. You were probably born in what, 2003?
Yeah, but like all my mates had
6.
Xbox. Just go. Yeah, I was 6. Yeah.
Mate, Jesus Christ! In those Modern Warfare 2 lobbies, hearing all the stuff that was said back in the day. Wow, you grew up.
I think Modern Warfare 2 was my first COD.
Yeah, and it was the first one I officially owned. 13. I played World at War and COD 4, so Modern Warfare, at like my mates. But I went to the release night of Modern Warfare 2 at like a Blockbuster. I had it pre-ordered or something, and I came home and I think I played it for like 3 hours. I completed the campaign by like, it came out on like a Friday or something. I completed the campaign by the Monday, and I went into school and I was like ruining the ending to all the other kids, and they were like, "Oh fucking hell, why'd you tell me this?" So that was fun, and they were like racing to like first prestige. That was when COD was in its like heyday.
I don't think they have prestige anymore. Have you got the new one yet?
I've got it. Yeah. I've played a little bit, but I don't know. I'm a bit too old now for video games. Like consistently,
you've made it.
Yeah, I know. I played for like an hour
for years, and you were going, nah, I won't get that point.
No. I'm still gonna every single year. I'm gonna buy the new FIFA and buy the new COD, but every time I'm playing them less. So it's like
you're just 5 years behind what I did. You want to I missed that. It's like nostalgia. Like I used to love playing them, and when you had the time to do it, it was great. But now it's just like, even if I do have the time, it just stresses me out because I'm not as good at it as I used to be because I don't have the time. You need to be good at it. You need to play it more, don't you?
Yeah. Josh, you
get the like nostalgic feeling, and then you go back on COD, and then you're like, it's just not the same as what it was.
You keep dying every 3 seconds, and you're like, I remember it being a bit more fun. Like,
I think Call of Duty is one of those things where like if you're not shitting on other people, you're just getting shat on.
Oh mate, it's hard work when you.
And when you've been better, it's almost like if you were to take 10 years off training and you just
go do a show.
Yeah, instead of pressing like 4 plates or 3 plates, you're pressing 1 plate. Or if you turn up and compete and you're like, I used to win these shows and I'm finishing dead last, you'd be a bit like, this isn't as good or enjoyable. And
I think it's worse with FIFA because you sat there for like 25 minutes getting battered for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it because these people just play it constantly.
All right, let's.
I think Call of Duty golden. Mate, come on, Call of Duty golden era. Can we all agree? Started at Modern Warfare 2. It had Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, and that was like the peak of COD. I think everybody can agree. It wasn't.
I don't think that's probably just because of our age.
No. I think
Black Ops 2 was the best COD, hands down.
I stopped playing Black Ops 2. I didn't really like it as much.
I think Modern Warfare 2 was the best.
Yeah, I like Modern Warfare 3.
See, I think that's just a nostalgia thing, though, isn't it? Yeah, Black Ops 2 towards the end, after about 6 months, it was just modded lobbies and
Yeah.
Like, it just
I feel
got
like,
painful from that point.
yeah, right. Enough.
Yeah, Josh, when did you start training?
I actually think, like, to be fair, we
Right, I started training
yeah,
at 15 years old. It was a similar sort of story to Reece's, where my mum lied about me being 16 to sign up to a JD gyms. I'm going to ask a follow-up question now. I want to ask when you started bodybuilding and why.
What? So
Ooh,
when
what, for,
you
like,
started
all of
actually
us?
taking
Yeah,
it
what
seriously?
sort of was like the spark in your mind to sort of say that I'm going to compete?
Mine was so almost, it was so slow because I had been the classic, like, I used to train like every day, literally every day from like 13 to 16. I legitimately trained every single day of the year, and I would only have a rest day if I was like injured or I'd played football at school and I just couldn't get to the gym. I'd literally train every day. And if I was tired, I'd just do a bit of arms, I'd do a bit of abs. But I'd be in the gym and like I literally would miss my bus home, not intentionally, but I'd miss my bus home, go to the gym. My mum would then pick me up when she finishes work and she'd come and get me at like 6:30. So I had like 3 hours after school that I could just go and smash myself at the gym. I then walk to Morrison's and get like some food to eat. And then in between, like literally, and then, like while I was at uni, while I was doing my GCSEs, we just go in deadlift and 1 rep max deadlift. And it was almost where I naturally, around the people that I went to school with, was always like the strongest, or I always developed at a little bit of a quicker rate. Like if everyone else was pulling 120, I was the one pulling 160. And like, even at like 14, 15, 16. And it almost got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm actually not that bad at this. Like I'm a little bit better than most people, but I also put the most time in. And it was where I never really would say, I openly was like, I'm a bodybuilder. In my whole teens, if someone was to ask me, "You a bodybuilder?" I'd say no. Like even now, I'd probably be like, I don't really class myself as a bodybuilder. But it was more so like a natural progression where like I almost was like, right, well, I want to get stronger in the gym, so I'm going to track my food. I don't really know how to track my food. Okay, there's loads of YouTube videos. I'm going to watch them. I'm going to listen to some podcasts. I'm going to read up on this. And I made the mistakes, and like I probably got logs on my notes, or I say things I've written down about. I tried every different sort of training meso, different sort of training styles. I powerlifted from like 15 to 17. In those years, I was like 100 plus kilos. I was like eating 5,000 plus calories a day. I flat benched, I think it was like 120 for like a set of 5 at 16, which is like pretty strong for a 16-year-old. I pulled 190 for a set of 5 when I was like 17 off the floor. I think I was like 16 or 17. And I was like pretty strong for a young kid, but it was like I just built myself up. And then eventually, before I knew it, I got to uni. And that's when I was like, I properly learned how to train. Me and Finn, we met each other. I think I was first year uni and Finn was like third year. And like even then, like we look at it, we weren't properly bodybuilding training when me and Finn met each other, but we were progressively overloading, tracking our food, making sure other variables are met. But every, let's say, couple of months, I think I was almost like setting the standard, thinking, well, this needs to be better, that needs to be better. I then went to Leeds uni, and that's when I trained at a proper gym and realized, oh shit, there's more to life than pressing 50 kilo dumbbells on a high incline. Like at a pure, you do that, you're an absolute god. You do that in a, let's say, an ultra flex, no one cares. People are pressing the 70s. So it's like, right, they're the minimum. It's almost where you just build those standards. But there wasn't a time where I said like I started bodybuilding. I probably started taking it more serious when I was like 16. That's when I probably started like committing to a bulk, eating progressively, training progressively, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's funny how we've all got similar sort of stories. We all like developed a love, but slowly, and it was just like just going back to the sort of same thing where you were the strongest out of your friendship group. I think the same thing will have probably been for me and Finn and the rest of the people that are, well, the vast majority of your clientele now. A lot of people get into this sport just because they see themselves as a step ahead and they want to sort of challenge themselves. I think that's the whole point of competing. It's like it's a challenge, you want to do it, and it's just another box sort of that you can tick off and say that you're done.
I think
But with
I think the people that actually end up doing well are the ones who, you like you say, they almost like they kind of fall into it slowly. It's like, well, I enjoy training. I enjoy tracking my food because I feel good for it. I enjoy looking better. So the natural progression is, oh, like people keep saying, why don't I compete? And then you start looking into it and stuff, and you think, oh yeah, maybe I could do that. I remember like when I first I used to get asked all the time at the uni gym, like, mate, are you not competing? When are you going to compete? Because I used to wear a vest and get like a stupid pump all the time, and my arms were always decent. So it was like, oh, you should compete, you should compete. And I'd be like, nah, fuck off, I'm not competing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be on stage in my pants. I used to say that to people all the time, like, nah, I don't want to do that. And then like as I got sort of as I progressed a little bit further, as I started to learn a little bit more about it, and as I started to realize that I wasn't as good as I thought I was, like, because obviously when you don't really know about bodybuilding, if you're the biggest guy in the gym, or you look the best in the gym, or you train the hardest, you think, oh, I'm the fucking dog's bollocks. When you realize you're not, like you say, you go to a better gym, and you go, oh shit, like, actually there's a lot more to this. Or you find people on YouTube, you start watching people's videos, and you go, oh, yeah, there's a lot more to this than just training to look good. It's, about, actually you can go into a competitive side of it. There's people that make a lot of money from it, or whatever it may be, and you start sort of like learning more about it. I think they're the people who actually do well, rather than the person who goes, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. Like,
yeah.
Well, you've already shot yourself in the foot, because you don't love all of the initial building blocks that are going to get you there. You need to enjoy that part first, but otherwise it's not going to happen.
And we've said Oh, sorry, Josh. You go ahead.
That's the sort of thing about bodybuilding, isn't it? It's like I said before, bodybuilding is a cultivation of little things. It's sort of like Finn said, macro tracking, dieting properly, training, getting your proper rest in, sleep, all those sort of things, they collate, and that's how you become a good bodybuilder. It's just whether you want to take those sorts of things seriously. If one's missing, the whole puzzle falls apart. For a bodybuilding competition to take place, you've got to have a ton of people doing that same sort of thing. If someone's doing that collection of skills better than you, then you're going to get beaten.
That's what you got to think as well, because like me and Reece will say, like, you can be the best in your gym, or even the best in your like county, but there's a whole fucking country, and then there's all these other countries that end up coming into it as well. Because like, especially if you go to Worlds, but even if you don't, like the UKDFBA is the UK and international, and the amount of people that come over from Germany and Austria and loads of just freaks. You think, oh, so I might even be the best in my gym, might even be the best in my town, might be the best in my county, my city, or the fucking country that I'm in. But then this freak from Germany comes over and beats me. It's like any sport. There's always going to be someone else that's doing it maybe better than you, or that's challenging you.
Half this, half quarter that. Josh Bogdani.
There's this freak that's half Albanian.
Yeah. Just turns up out of the blue, and he's got an English passport. We're like, what the fuck? Who's this guy?
Just the English passport, that's what it is.
Yeah, they're like, Bogdani, what? Who's this guy? But
that's why I had to spell it out.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. We said like on the podcast before why like how current bodybuilding is, because it's an easy skill gap of getting in. Like, you just go to the gym, and I can guarantee, Josh, like especially at your age, I bet there's people around you who are like maybe slightly against it, but then also I bet you probably, without realizing, probably inspire a fair few people that you went to school, college with, who are like, that's fucking sick, that's proper cool, without them even realizing. And then people jump into it way too early, and like they try and go to like they go into the gym and they're instantly like, I want to be a bodybuilder, I want to do this, I want to do that. And in reality, I think it's time spent of just setting those foundations and getting a little bit better and becoming more adherent, more applicable to day-to-day tasks. And like you said, prioritizing sleep, making sure you're tracking your macros. And it's almost like a building blocks of, oh, now I'm actually a bit of a bodybuilder. It's not where you just wake up one day and think, I'm a bodybuilder. But unfortunately, nowadays, you can just go to a gym and think, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. And in reality, I think it's why now, like, you see so many people falling off on there's some month they're on it and you see them on Instagram constantly, then you don't see from them and they're doing something different. And it's like too much like yo-yo sort of mentality, where bodybuilding is monotonous. Like your last 20 weeks, I bet, obviously bar post prep, have been literally the exact same on a daily basis, you know?
Yeah, you say it like that, but then I think off season and going forward, it's just going to be the same thing. Like
all it is you eat more and you move less. That's but
exactly.
It's very similar. And I think
that's
a lot
why
of people,
you've got to enjoy it.
They need that variance. They need that. They want that. I want to do something different. I want a new trainer meso. I want to be eating different foods. And it's like, if you've got that sort of mindset, it's not to say you can't make it in bodybuilding, but you almost need to build yourself up to get to a point where you can say, okay, this is literally what bodybuilding is, and I fucking love it for what it is.
You have to be a certain type of individual to love that monotony. You do. And like we were saying then, like we all did all of that before we even thought about going into bodybuilding. Like I liked tracking my food and being on top of all that. I liked getting a good night's sleep. I liked not going out like everyone else. You know what I mean? Like I liked looking after myself before I even thought, tell you what, this is all going to help me be a bodybuilder. I never even thought like that back in the day. I just like doing it. Like, so I think it makes a difference. But anyway, this is quite a good segue to the next question.
Okay.
So Hez asked, how did it feel prepping for a show at 18? Did you feel like you were missing out on other things like social events, etc.?
Yeah,
Thank you for the question, Kez.
Thank you, Kez. Thank you. Well, to be honest, like I wasn't a person that sort of went out anyway. Like I always had a lot of friends in high school, college.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry, Mr. Popular.
Yeah, so popular, Mr.
Oh,
Popular.
I've got so many friends. Look, when you've got as many friends as me, like it's one of them. You know, you get invited out to parties left, right. You know, sorry guys, I'm prepping.
The number like slowly died off when I decided I just didn't want to go out on a weekend. Like my mates were going out every Friday, Saturday night, and I was just like, I just really can't be bothered because I'd backed myself in the gym the day before, and then for the majority of the time I work 2 jobs through the week. So for me to have to book time off to go out, get absolutely smashed, and then my gym for the weekend be hindered, like I just didn't think it was worth it. I didn't see it worth it. I've been out twice in my life. I've never been drunk. It's just not something that I'd look forward to doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good mindset though.
I think
like you're ahead of your time there. A lot of people get to that at like 23 after uni and they go, I've had enough of it now. Like, yeah, I'm gonna settle down. Whereas you've just been like, don't really want to do that anyway. Saved yourself like however many years.
Yeah, but you see, there's positives to it and then there's negatives. Like I'd say that I'm not as close to my friendship group anymore, and there's a lot of.
I thought you were really popular. I thought you were like, I got so many friends.
Yeah, so many friends. But the sacrifices that you make through this sort of like prep period where you just like you become antisocial, you can sort of control that a little bit, whereby you can choose to put effort into people that you want to speak to. Say you've got like a girlfriend or close family members, you are still close with them. It's not like that relationship's not going to die down. But with people that say are a bit more distant, like a friendship group whereby you only ever see them when you go out, that those relationships are going to die off.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that is actually a negative though, or do you actually think that you probably benefit from that to an extent? And also you got to think about the people that you've met through the prep that you would have never met. Like there's going to be loads of people. You might not be people that you go out with, but they're people that you actually share common interests with, that you can have conversations with rather than just let's go out and get pissed. Like, you know, you probably met loads of people through the prep that you probably see as mates now that you would have never met if you hadn't have done it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing about bodybuilding is we're all like-minded people, really. I did make a post about it whereby I feel like the people that compete in bodybuilding actually do love bodybuilding. The majority of them are sound people. 9 out of 10 of them are sound people. Just because one, we all think the same. We all do the same thing on a daily basis. Like it's just
easy to get on with other bodybuilders, isn't it? It's dead easy to get on because you just chat about like people. It's just what you know what the crack is, you know what they like, you know what you do, and generally, like you say, they're all in it for the same reasons. Like just you enjoy the process of getting better, and you're gonna get on with people if they want to progress. Like it's like that whole saying of like you surround yourself with the people that the top 5 people that you want to be there with. You're going to be like an average of that. You surround yourself with a lot of bodybuilders and like good bodybuilders. It's not really going to do you any harm.
Yeah, what does Rob Taylor say?
Get yourself away from Finn. Get yourself away from Finn. It's like, you want to be around good bodybuilders.
Don't talk to me, mate. I'll leave the podcast. What did you say? What did you say about Rob Taylor?
Rob Taylor always goes, your network is your net worth, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's true though. It makes a massive difference. Like that's why me and Reece don't have a circle. We just have a line. Just me and Reece. It's just a line. We don't have a big circle.
Can I be like plonked somewhere on the middle then? Can we become a triangle?
Be a triangle, mate. To be fair, as much as we joke about not having a circle, like I think we do more than we think because we have like obviously a community with people from the podcast. Like we get on with a lot of people in a sense, but we just don't have close relationships with people, do we? Like we don't feel the need to like communicate outside of just like having a laugh on the podcast or getting to know people in that sense. But like me and Reece always say, like people just talk to each other through the day. And like, I just find that mental. It's like
having conversations.
I just find it crazy. Like, it's nice, and if people feel that they need it, but like me and Reece never ever. When do we ever message each other? Like, the only time we'll do it.
The one thing I've noticed about working a normal job is like, because you go out and you see like how other people live. The majority of the people that I work with are bodybuilders. They'll never have anything to do with body. Well, that's a lie, actually. But they don't live a bodybuilding lifestyle, whatever. So they just talk about nothing. Like, well, to what
sports, that's all it is. It's just chit chat.
Yeah, exactly. They just do general chit chat for like hours on end a day.
That's
and to us, that seems a bit weird. Yeah.
And then they'll moan about the job that they don't like, but then they'll never change anything about it because they don't feel like they've got the self-belief or confidence to do anything about it. Again, that's another thing that like bodybuilding teaches you, that you can, if you put your mind to it and you put enough time and effort in, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Like in terms of a career, like if you really wanted to, like now, if me or Reece thought, I don't want to be a coach anymore, I want to do this, it might be completely different. Like I'd be confident that I could do it. It'd just take time. Yeah. If I wanted to become a pilot, I wouldn't be like, no, I'd never be able to do that. Of course I could. Just have to fucking learn. And it'd just take time and effort. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't think as bodybuilders, once you've started to change your physique and change your lifestyle and change your mindset, because it does make like your mindset is over time does definitely change a lot, especially going through a prep and different phases and stuff. Like you almost get to that point where you're so self-confident and believe in yourself enough to the point where like you could almost think, well, I can do whatever I really want. It's just a case of putting in the time. But I think people never get to that realization. They just sort of think, I can't do that.
That 9 to 5, got to do this. You finish college, you go to uni, you do uni, don't really enjoy it. You then go and work
live for the weekend job, go out.
Yeah, and it's literally it's the same sort of rinse repeat where I think it puts you out your comfort zone initially, and you understand it.
I feel like that's what you're taught from sort of like the beginning of time, really. Once you start school, you're taught that you go from primary to secondary all the way to college, and then you have to go to uni afterwards. Obviously, like more avenues are opening up now whereby you can do different qualifications. It's a lot easier to become like a PT, get different qualifications, but it's like ingrained in British history that you have to go through the entire education system. And well, I think it's probably
in all history, but I think it's changing because like nowadays you can go on YouTube, look how much you can learn. Like go on social media, like you follow the right people in the right different sort of spaces. Look how much you can learn from different experts in different things. Like you can pretty much choose a certain industry that you want to go into. You don't have to be like, oh, I have to go to uni. And obviously there's going to be a lot of things like if you want to be a doctor, you're not going to just learn it from YouTube. Like you need qualifications. But for a lot of things, like a qualification isn't going to go and sort of put you way ahead of anyone else that has had time learning it through their own ways, experience learning it. Like, for example, me and Reece, we both have degrees, but AJ doesn't have a degree. Like, there's loads of really good coaches that don't have a degree. You don't need a degree. And again, this is our industry, but it's going to be the same in a lot of industries that.
Yeah, but like, I think if we're just talking about sports in general, a lot of the sort of jobs surrounding sports don't require a degree.
No.
Especially if it's something like personal training, coaching.
That's what training, bro. You just buy like 5 cereal boxes in a week and then send it off and you get one in the post or something. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You win it in a cereal box.
Even if we're going on to like football coaching, sports coaching, they're separate qualifications altogether. But I feel like because of the way that like we're raised from young, we believe that you have to go to university to gain those things, unless you look into it yourself.
I also think there's a point where, and I think this is also when it comes to like the nature versus nurture kind of chat, there's a certain point where you have to go like your own path and find your own way. Because like there was a point when I was growing up where I sort of had that kind of fuck it moment, and I was like, I'm not going to just do what I should do. So it was when I was in my second year of uni, and I was like, I'm not enjoying this. I was like, uni's a bit shit. I was like, but I'm not going to quit because I don't quit things. I was like, I'm going to get it done because I'm there now. So I was like, but I don't really enjoy my course. I'm working these other jobs that I'm not really enjoying just to make money so that I'm not in massive debt from uni. So I was like, what can I actually do? And I remember I never really wanted to be a PT, but then I thought, well, I enjoy training. I enjoy being in the gym. I enjoy talking about the gym. All I do in my spare time is watch videos about the gym and learn about it. So I was like, I might as well fucking go into it. So I was like, right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be a PT. And then like 6 weeks later, I had a PT qualification. I was working in Pure Gym and I was gaining clients. And I was like, just because I went, I need to fucking change this because I'm not enjoying uni. But like most people would just carry on and then get to the end of uni and go, oh, what now? And then like try and get a job that you probably don't like.
Yeah, and they get to the point and they're like, "Oh, I've got nothing set up."
Yeah.
I remember having conversations last year when I was finishing, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to be coaching full time?" And I'm like, "I've been coaching full time for the last year. Like we've been in a lockdown. I've not been having
It
turn
was
up
like
to
with
you."
me, like PT, and I didn't go to uni in the final year, and they were like, I had to. Remember I said to you, the accommodation team were like ringing me all the time. I had to go in. I had to show them like, look, this is my work schedule. This is what I'm doing. I'm not just pissing about going out and not coming into uni. I was like, this is my job. Like I'm actually doing what I want to do. I was like, I'm just not sacking off uni because I might as well finish it. And they were like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Like,
I was so lucky. Obviously, with uni like being COVID and stuff like that, like my attendance, I literally only turned up to S&C in the last year for online lectures. In-person lectures, I think I turned up once, and that was it. So my attendance was probably like single digits, and like they didn't really say anything to me because they knew every time I mentioned it, I would always ask the right questions. I'd book meetings on my own time, and I'd just say like, "Well, I'm busy. I've got my own stuff to focus on, and I can still carry on and crack on with this." And I still managed to get everything done, and it was a bit of a stress, as it would be if you're not really turning up, but it wasn't like I regret that. It was priorities in place, and I knew that I'd be coaching, let's say a year from now. Am I going to be using my degree a year from now? Well, I'm not. So that's the answer. So Josh, I actually wanted to ask, what's your long-term goals, mate? What's your career? Are you going to be a BB? Is that what you're going to be?
Yeah, I have BB Pro Classic. No, I'm joking. Well, obviously,
come on,
I'm
slow. Like job, bodybuilding. What's like? Come on, draft them out. What do you want to take off? Revisit this in like 5 years. I made it.
We'll lay out a present plan. My present time, I work in a supplement store. I do their sales, emails, stuff like that. All the
boring supplement store, mate? Is it a chain?
Active Sports Nutrition.
Okay.
Touch better than Cardiff. And then I work in a gym also in the afternoons. So I go straight from there to the gym, and then that's my day pretty much. In the future, on my weekends, I'm sort of starting to set up an online coaching business just because I feel like it's something I can do to use my spare time efficiently, just because there's a lot of people out there that just like, especially my mates or people that are in my gym, stuff like that just don't have the same sort of guidance or willingness to look for sort of like information that us lot have. So for me.
Fair enough. And then physique standpoint, anything like you said, classic pro?
To be honest, mate, the next time I'll be competing is 2025 for that sort of like time period. I've got a lot of time to grow, really. So
okay, cool. Thank you. Sound. Sorry, guys. Carry on, Josh.
From like, if we're saying I've got a 2-year off season, I've got the opportunity to sort of make the decision as I go along. Whether it be men's physique, whether it be classic physique, whether it be open bodybuilding, I highly doubt that. But like men's physique and classic physique are my two sort of like options. I mean, I'm slightly swaying towards classic physique, but like obviously you'll have seen through my Instagram. I think my physique suits men's physique a bit better.
Yeah, I'd say with your like, because your quads, like you'd sell yourself. I don't think your quads are massive, but with your upper body, I would definitely say your ceiling's higher in Classic. But to be fair, mate, like, I haven't seen you in board shorts. Like I've seen you do some posing, and mate, you look sound. But it depends.
Yeah.
I would personally, and to be fair, you don't really need to stress out. You just train, and you'll see. Like you'll probably, when it comes to 2025, like you'll be 16 weeks out, and you'll hit a men's physique pose, and you might go, "Oh shit, that's a lot better." Or you might hit a classic pose and go, "Right, this is what it is." But for now, from judging off this year, I'd say classic would be the goal
I
for you,
think
mate.
just based off the criteria that a lot of the judges looked for this year in men's physique, I don't think I'm sort of built for that. Like my strengths are my posterior chain, like you could say my quads, but I'd say mainly my posterior chain. With men's physique, they base a lot, like most of the poses are determined by what you've got on your front. So you push musculature, your abdomen, your arms, and I think they're my weakest body parts. So if I was sort of to develop them and bring them up, I think men's physique would be an option, but classic is sort of where I'm at.
I think you're definitely more tailored towards classic. Even just, I know obviously it's because you pose quite classic anyway, but I think in terms of like your rib cage and your lines and things like that, like you do suit classic quite well. I think, like you say, for men's physique, don't get me wrong, you can easily structure your training to prioritize that musculature and really bring up your delts, really bring up your chest, really bring up your arms. But you know, you're still going to have your same structure. Like you're still going to have those same lines. You're just going to be bigger. I think you do. And also it's like, it's not often like guys that do quite well in physique have got quite short torsos. I feel like you've got the opposite. Like you've got quite a long and slim torso, which is good because it makes your waist look really small. But I think for men's physique, the guys that often tend to do well have quite short torsos. And like they're wide, obviously they're wide and still they've got a narrow waist, but their torso, you very rarely see guys that have got really long torsos. There's some, like Reece hasn't got a short torso. Like Tyler Smith, he's obviously a good physique guy. He's not got a short torso, but
Who's that
some
guy
of the
that's
top
won?
guys,
I think he's won 4 or 5 pro shows in America this year, and he's like 5'4". What's his name? He's an American guy. He's won. He's coached by that Cuts on Instagram.
I'm not sure. His name Jovan.
One second, I'll try and get a picture of him up.
But no, I think you are more suited to classic. Did you say, because it was cutting out, my internet connection is not the best, so sorry if the quality is not the best, guys. But yeah, did you say, because obviously you're speaking about competing in 2025, obviously we've spoke about like your plans in regards to the natural feds and going enhanced. Did you say like what your plans are in terms of time frame with that? Obviously you're now what? How many weeks post show are you?
3 in a bit.
5 and a bit.
5 weeks. Wait,
I'm pretty sure it's 5.
not been 5 weeks, surely. It was midway through last month. Was it the month before? No, yeah, it was midway through last month. I think it's been about 3.5, 4.
Yeah.
Regardless, it doesn't really make
1.
Yeah, it's been 4 weeks this weekend.
Yeah, it's been 4 weeks. To be honest, like the last few weeks for me have sort of, I had a 2-3 day off sort of period. Well, I say day off, I was supposed to only have 1 day off afterwards, but it's sort of dwindled out. But yeah, I've been back on plan ever since then. It's been a sort of reverse diet. I'm only 4 kilos up, so I'm not like terribly out of shape, but like as we know, I wasn't terribly out of shape before anyway. There's still a lot more room to push, obviously, with the addition of some enhancement. That's going to be the sort of next step in my bodybuilding journey, we'll call it. We've got a good few years to sort of utilize that, some extra food, a proper structured program, and a proper structured training program. So it gives me the sort of ability to utilize a lot more tools from this starting point that I've got now, whereby if I was to just have carried on bulking, I'd have had to strip it all back again and then start again. So the sort of competitions came at a good point for me anyway.
Can I play devil's advocate here, mate? Is there not a temptation? And I'm actually on the Team Natty side of things. You said your gainer phase in the past were like pretty unstructured, eating shit, KFC. Is there not a temptation to think, I'm not really probably committed to a gaining phase regardless of PDs. And like obviously, if the long-term goal is to step on stage in the enhanced realm, then fair enough, that's understandable. But is there not a thought process where you're like, I could just probably be a bit more optimal in a gaining phase natty, and that could be an option? Or is it where you've got your sights and you're like, right, I'm stepping on stage next time, and I'm not going to be in a tested show. So it's
Yeah,
like,
well,
no.
I think for me, for the main goals to be a sort of IFBB pro, it was sort of just like once his prep's done, I'm going straight into a structured off season, and from that point going forward, it's like just using the sort of tools as well as possible, isn't it? I'm rushing because it says less than 1 minute.
Don't worry,
A
mate.
lot of
We'll go into a third part. I'll stop it now. Sorry, guys. Zoom cut us off again. So yeah, basically that question Josh was just answering and saying that he's going to utilize all tools that he has at his disposal, which,
all tools,
like you say,
so that's going to be growth hormone initially, insulin
straight away.
minimum. Yeah, straight away.
just all from the beginning, just all of it.
In all seriousness,
point.
like obviously you've got a coach who, like you say, you speak really highly of. He knows what he's doing, so you're in good hands on that side of things. Like you're not just going to go, oh yeah, I'm just going to jump on stuff. Like you know what you're doing. Sensible. You've experienced a prep and everything in the first instance. So yeah, obviously, like you say, if your goals lie in that realm, then ultimately, it makes sense. I think a lot of people wait it out, which generally is a good idea if you're not sure, if you've not competed before, if you've not been able to adhere to a prep, all these kind of things. Speaking of that, actually, just quickly, how was your adherence during the prep? Like, did you just tick every box as you should?
Say that.
I didn't cheat on my diet once. It was 29 total weeks, something like that. And yeah, I feel like if you can't adhere to your prep diet, then something like anabolics is just completely out the window. There's no point in it for you.
Exactly.
You've got to think about like there's a lot more that goes into the pot with anabolics than just risking your health, like with kids. There's like if you want to actually maximize growth using that sort of steroids, we'll say. Like you've got to be nailed on with sleep, food, hydration, training, absolutely everything has to be nailed on. Otherwise, you're just not going to make the most of it. And that's where people fall short and stuff like health markers, blood markers, they get problems later on in life with sort of creating the physique they want to create ultimately.
I wouldn't say that. Simply like most people who are enhanced usually look shit because they literally have an over.
Say how it is, mate. You can say what you want on the podcast.
Yeah, mate. Trust me. No, at this point, like, just say what you want. People look fucking shit. Most people on gear look shit. Let's be honest. Like that's the case.
There is
the standard at natural bodybuilding is usually
physique,
better based on condition and how things are. Yeah.
There's a typical physique, which is
exactly
what you're saying.
Go
on, mate.
If you took the sort of like the winners of each class and made them enhanced, we'll say at the BNBF final, or UK DFBA final, I reckon they'd all be IFBB pros. Obviously we'll see about some people. Obviously there are some masters and that, but like for example, like Connor Lewis, I think he's got phenomenal physique, phenomenal structure. He's peeled to the bone. He adheres to his diet incredibly well. He nails on absolutely everything. If he was to use anabolics, he would just be a better version of himself, because that's all anabolics does.
This is
sort of magnifying glass, really, isn't it?
This is what we were chatting about the other day to AJ, wasn't it, Reece? We were saying like the people who have got really good potential and the people who are very good naturals, more often than not, are the ones who then go enhanced and are really good enhanced athletes. Like there's obviously some naturals that stay natty and do really well naturally because that's where their goals lie, and that's fine. But if you're a really, really, really good natty and you have the potential, like we were saying, like Jovan, like if you have that goal, why not? If you can do it safely, which you can, like, you can do it. It's obviously not going to be 100% safe as if you weren't to do it, but there's ways of doing it safely. There's that much education out there nowadays to do it in the right way, do it as safely as you possibly can. So when you see people like Jovan, for example, you think literally the sky's the limit. Fair play. Like if that's what your goals are. I don't know what Jovan's goals are, but we said he could probably get a pro card natty anyway.
Yeah, he's very good. He's almost a little bit too low for the vast majority. Like he's almost, in my opinion, like he's almost like a step above. You have the genetic elite tier, and then you have Jovan, who's like just a step.
Jovan and James Alabaster.
Yeah, yes, James Alabaster is very good.
Yeah, the two people you look at and you're like, right.
Let's quickly fire through any questions you've got. Like we'll do them as quick fire just so we get back to everyone, and then we'll wrap it up. So do you say you've got another one, Josh?
So Jacob Huxley asked, how's it feel stepping on stage for the first time? ? Winning ? I sort of like.
So we all answer this, but Finn about the winning part. Like, Finn won't.
Wow.
Finn. Don't mention the winning.
Third place, it's a win. I'm going to take. They actually say third place winner. Give your medal to the third place winner. So I am a winner, actually.
Mate, the win's the journey. The win's the process. It's the journey. That's the win. And I've already won before I stepped on stage because the journey.
Go on,
Josh. Like, I don't know how to answer this one really, because it's sort of like you don't get one clear feeling. You just sort of go through a sort of bunch of different emotions. From the WNBF win was completely different to the UKDFBA win for me personally, just because it was like the WNBF win, apart from Conran and, well, we'll say Ruben, but like the rest of them they were like 15, 16-year-old kids. It wasn't a massive challenge, we'll say anyway. So from that standpoint, I was like, yeah, it's a win. A win's a win. But for the UKDFBA one, I was against the best Conran that there's ever been. I was against, we'll say, the best Jack. So that one meant a lot more to me personally, just because it was the biggest challenge out of all of them. Yeah. And genuinely, like, I was sat in the lineup, I was like, I don't know where they're going to place us at this point. Like, I came second in the UKDFBA.
Anyway, those three.
Exactly. I came second in the UKDFBA qualifier. So I was like, I could be at the bottom here because Conran's won his show, Jack's won his show. Like, I was the only winner, not like the only person there that didn't win their qualifier. So that instantly, I think, puts me at a disadvantage. But when I got called out as a winner, like you'll see, I put my hands over my face. That was one of the only times I think I ever showed any emotion, sort of like on stage, because I was just that much in shock because I'd beat the best version of two of the best teenage bodybuilders in Britain.
Natural bodybuilders.
Natural.
You have to remember that. Whenever you premise that, 20 now. Whenever you say that, you have to premise it, mate, with natural, because you go, oh my god, I'm the best. I'm the best teenage bodybuilder in Britain. Natural. And then you go, actually, you're not. You're natural. So there's probably loads of guys on gear that are just loads better than you. All right, yeah.
When Jack Eagles was 19, he was far better than me. I'll say that.
Yeah. Is he 20 now, Jack?
Yeah, he's 20. He's not impressive anymore.
He's not there anymore. Fell off.
Yeah. But that being said, like we said before with Jack, like he's 20, but his like blood, like if you were to have a look at his blood age, like if you were to say, right, let's have a look at his blood age. Yeah, he's a massive competitor. That's what it is. He's like, right, you're 20.
Get Jack on, don't we? You need to get Jack and Danny. That'd be good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about both of them at the same time, Finn. I reckon they just chat too much. It'd be best to get. Yeah.
So
be like looking at
the other questions that I've got. We can answer next week. They don't require you, Josh. Okay. They're not for you.
It's all right. I'll take it.
Well, actually, one of them is for you. Possible. One of them is for you. We can do this quickly. I say they're not for you. One of them's got Josh in brackets. Do you follow football, mate?
A little bit, yeah. We'll say a little bit.
Do you follow the Championship?
Huddersfield Town's in the Championship, so yeah.
Is that who you support?
I did when I was a kid. I've not watched the Huddersfield Town game in about 4 years.
Is that where you're from?
Yeah, Huddersfield.
Huddersfield and Albania. Half Huddersfield, half Albania.
Yeah.
So Will Razzo, who loves the championship because Sheffield United are in it. He's asked championship top 6.
Oh
Do you even
my
know?
God. Hey Siri, what's the championship's top 6?
Exactly what we did last time, and
Exactly.
check the top 6 and just say the top 6.
Yeah, we literally just went. Finn read out. I said, Finn,
Burnley
what's
are
the
in
top
first
6?
place in the English Football League Championship with 38 points after 20 matches, ahead of second place Blackburn Rovers by 2 points.
Yeah, so that's my top 2. You don't need the rest.
Who's first? Is it Burnley?
Burnley.
Burnley top at league.
Burnley.
Finn, you know that Leah
would still
girl
play
that I
there.
went to uni with? Do you remember me telling you her brother signed up? So Leah, the Burnley fan, who was like, I love Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche. She was a Burnley fan. And every single time I spoke to her, she'd just speak to me about, like, she'd just say something odd about Burnley. And she'd be like, Liverpool v Burnley this week, Reece. Come here and game. That's how she sounded. I loved it. What a girl. I haven't spoken to her in years, but her brother ended up signing up with Josh. So obviously coaching. Technically, he's like in the Team ReeceFit brand, which is quite cool. So yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
not bad, right?
Signed up, mate.
Yeah, that's what it is. Now she plays hockey or some. She's like a discus throw. I don't know, some
Similar
sport.
About the same thing.
Yeah, hockey, discus, whatever,
Same
javelin.
I'll say same thing. If it's not bodybuilding, it's the same thing.
Right, we're going to wrap it up because we've covered the questions. Josh, do you have anything that you want to say? Do you want to plug anything? Obviously, you just said that you're starting online coaching.
I'll not be cheap because I've not started it yet. So I'll just say follow my Instagram for now. Yeah, that's all really. I'd just say, like, I know there's a lot of lads competing next year that are like wanting to do the teens category. They're looking into the teens category. I'd say just try your absolute hardest, nail prep as much as you possibly can. Like, it's as much as it doesn't seem like you can get a lot of rewards from it. It does start to sort of like open your eyes to a lot of things in bodybuilding. You do learn a lot about your body. You learn a lot about like what people do. Say you're an online coach, for example, like Josh Campbell's just started his online coaching business. You learn a lot about the processes of coaching bodybuilders. You learn a lot about biochemistry itself. You'll learn about the fact that competitions don't necessarily go your way because of small things. Like, for example, say your posing's off, your diet, like say your posing, your condition, or your muscularity is off. Like, those are the 3 things that you get judged on normally. It's all relative to what the judges want. Like, I think that's a big thing to keep in mind for a lot of people. Bodybuilding itself is a sport which is relative to people's opinions. That's the easiest way to close it off.
That's a good outro, to be fair. And I will say, Josh, like, hopefully you've enjoyed your time. I think it's nice. It's nice to have a chat because, like, for your age, you're definitely a lot. I'm not gonna say wiser, but you've got a wise head on your shoulders for
On your massive delts. Got a wise head on those massive delts, mate.
Massive.
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, no, you're not like mate. Most 18-year-olds aren't at all like how you are. So I think it'd probably be quite refreshing. And then likewise, I know I've got a few teen competitors on stage again next year, and I'm guessing there probably will be a few people getting into preps. And I think you've got a good insight, and hopefully the listeners have enjoyed. But thanks for your time, mate. Finn, anything you want to leave us upon, or should we wrap it up?
Thank you for coming on, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, cool. Right,
Thank you, lads.
Thanks for everybody. If everyone's got any questions for Josh, feel free. Instagram, I'm guessing it'll be like somewhere related in the description, or likewise, we've already had a look through it. And appreciate all the story tags, questions, everything, guys. And we'll catch you guys next week. Josh won't, though, just does. See you later.